Hi, here's a video on how to make a DIY jumper for the 24-inch Rainbow High Dial Amaya Raine out of a pair of socks. And these are just socks that I got from the dollar store. What I'm going to use is a pair of socks, needle and thread, some elastic, hot glue, some trim. This came from Walmart. And got a couple of beads. I'll probably just need one to make a closure in the back. And this is like the stretchy little elastic thread that you usually get off of packages and stuff. We're going to use a little bit of that as well. So let's begin. I am not a YouTuber per se, so this might get a little difficult to show. But I did say I was going to show how I made it. So I think I'm going to use this pair of socks because I have thread to match it. Okay, I'll be back after I get it undone. Okay, so I've got it undone. I think I might have clipped a little hole in there. Oops. Yeah, thank goodness it's just for the doll. What we're going to do first is, let's see if we can film this. I'm going to keep the two pairs of socks matched together. And we are going to cut on a diagonal from here down to here. Let's put it up to her. Yeah. So we're going to do a diagonal and cut that toe part off on a slant like that. And the diagonal, you want to have the diagonal go from, this is the heel, this is the bottom of the sock, and to go up that way toward the top of the sock. I'm not sure how well I can cut this without using both my hands, so I'll be back. Okay, here's where I cut it on the diagonal. And here's the pieces that I cut off. I made an initial cut across both pieces, and then I went back and trimmed any pieces to make sure that they were both the same size and they matched. The next step is to cut a slit along both of these socks on the front. Let me make sure these are the same size. I didn't check that part. I might end up having to trim it a little more, but yeah, I might have to trim it just a little bit more because we want that part to match there, and then it needs to match up here. And this piece, the back piece, is a little bit longer, so I'm going to trim that now. Okay, now I've got it pretty much even. I've got this part matching here. I'm going to make a slit going down the middle piece of both of these socks. And basically, to figure out how long you want that slit, kind of hold it up to the dowel. So probably she needs the slit to go to about that first square right there. So that's how far we'll cut down on the edges of both of these. I'll be back once I do that. Okay, back from the last part, I've cut both socks down the middle of the top part of the sock all the way to the bottom of this square here. And what we're going to do is match these pieces together and sew it. One I'll have to turn inside out and one I'll have right side out. I'll show you that in a second. Sorry. So I have one of these socks inside out and one right side out. And what I'm going to do is put the one that's on the right side inside of the inside out sock so that the edges match and I can sew it. I'll do that in a second. Okay, I'm back. So I have the sock that's on the right side inside here, and then the inside out one there, as you can see. And then I think I'm going to put a little straight pin right there to hold that little bottom part. And then I'll begin to sew. So here I'm doing a back stitch. I've started about halfway up. I'm going to go down around where the end of this slit is and back up the other side to where this pin is. I'll be back. Okay, so I've done a back stitch, starting from here all the way down to where the bottom of that split was, all the way up to the other side. And I've determined, I think this side will be the front of the outfit and the other side will be the back. I'm going to turn it inside out and then we're going to try it on Miss Amaya over there. I'll be back. Okay, here's the jumpsuit so far. We've got it on Amaya. This is the front. This is the back. There's where that hole is that I snipped in it by accident. Oops. Anyway, this area right here, we're going to turn in and stitch that V area right here where my thumb is in the front of her. I'm going to stitch that area. These two pieces that stick out, we're going to tuck those in and they're going to make like faux little pockets. See how I put that in right there? So that'll make little faux pockets. And then we're going to put elastic in the back of the outfit. And we also have to fix that little hole there, but I'm going to do the stitching on the edge of this part first. I'll be back. Okay, so I've got the stitching done on this side. I'm going to go across and do the stitching on that side. Then the front part will be done, the stitching for that. I'll be back. Okay, so I've finished the stitching at the front of her outfit. We're going to tuck these little, like where the heel of the sock is. I'm going to tuck those in on both sides. We can do that like this. That's gonna make like little faux pockets there on the sides of her outfit. And it gets rid of those little weird shaped spots. Okay, Just try to get them as even as you can. So this is kind of how it's looking so far. Looks like that piece is sticking out again. I'll have to adjust that. And I've got to sew that hole up, but I can do that later. I think we're going to work on the back. I'm going to tuck all of this in and then start putting the elastic in the back of her outfit. Okay. Yikes. Okay, so I've folded that back part down inside of the outfit, and it's kind of folded all the way up to the front, so all that extra fabric is just down inside there. And what I'm going to do is start getting my elastic ready to run it through there. And then I actually just hot melt glue this whole part together. I don't think I do any more sewing after this. We'll see. You can see here I've cut a piece of seam and elastic, and it pretty much whatever fits from seam to seam on the back of her body, that's going to be the elastic that goes through the back of her outfit. So what I'm going to do is hot melt glue on one end, hot melt glue it on the other end, and then retuck this whole back. So I'm going to take this back because it's pretty hold still, girl. Okay, let's sit her right here maybe. Will that work? Maybe. Take this all out. We're gonna hot glue that elastic on one side, hot glue it on the other side, on the inside of this, and then all of this is going to get tucked down inside there, and then we can hot glue tack it along that area. So I'm going to do that now. Okay, I've got one side tacked down. After this cools off pretty well, I'm going to take this and tack it to the other side. Okay, so I've got it tacked on one side on the inside. Then, so we've got this tacked on one side, tacked on the other side. It's kind of still cooling off, so let me hold that a little better because it's sliding out of place. You have to wait for it to cool off really well before you get to the next step, okay? Okay, so I think it's pretty cooled off now. You can see how we have this back piece. On the inside, we have this tacked on this side, tacked on this side, and I'm just going to take this and flip it onto the inside of this elastic, like so. And then after I adjust it how I want it to be, then I can go through and tack the inside of the back. I usually like to gather most of it toward the back of her. It's looking a little bulky right now, but I'm going to do that and then I'll come back. Okay, I tested it and I wanted it to be cinched a little bit more, so I've pinched my elastic and I'm going to glue that area so that the elastic is shorter. I'll do that now. Okay, so far I've glued the inside of here all the way on the sides, on each side. I didn't like the way the elastic was turning out in the back, so I took it loose, and I'm gonna redo it. And I think I'm gonna put like just a small piece about this width from like here to here to gather this part right here and glue that on the inside. I'm gonna try it. Also, close a little hole, put a little glue in it. It's starting to come out right there, but it's okay. At least it won't ravel, hopefully. And then I glued trim on those side pieces after I glued them closed. So I'm gonna put this in the back and see how that turns out. Okay, so I've got it glued in here. I don't have it under that part. I think I'm gonna stitch this down across the back though, because it's a little bit bulky and I don't want it to be bulky, and I kind of want to have control over how that part turns out. So I'm going to try to stitch that elastic down and see how that turns out. Okay, for the neck area, I decided to go with a short piece, kind of like a choker. So what I've done so far is I've stitched and reinforced it with glue, a little loop there out of the little stretchy stuff. And then on the other end, I'm going to stitch the little bead, and then the loop can go over the little bead, and that'll be the closure for the back of the outfit where the neck is. Okay, so we've tucked it in side the elastic in the back. We'll have to adjust that a little bit more as we go, but we're going to start on the front now, and I'm going to fold this over and tack it like that on both sides to leave a little more than a 1/2 inch, maybe 3/4 inch opening there, because what we're going to do is try to put this through there to go around the neck. Let's see how that turns out. So I've got it glued on both sides. There's a little space right here. I'm going to take a piece of this, and I think I'm going to get a long piece because I don't know how I want it to fall in the back. I might crisscross it down to the back, or I'm not 100% sure. So I'm going to just trim a long piece and put it through there, and then we'll see what we come up with. Okay, so I've got it going through the little loops up at the top, and I haven't quite decided, but we'll probably have it crisscross or something toward the bottom once we figure out how we want to do the design. Or we might have it just go like a small piece right here and put the button or the closure right there. Either way, it'll still look pretty good. And I think I'm going to glue these little areas closed on each side. That's what I'm going to do next. Okay, so I got this part done, that part done for the closure. I'm going to put it back on the outfit and see how it fits. Okay, so here's how it looks. Got it back on, and the little loop reaches over the little bead to form a closure on the back of her neck. Those are spots that were popping up where like we made the faux pockets. Here's the back. There's where that little hole was. I might do something to that area. A lot of pieces of fuzz on there. But not really caring for how this part turned out. So I'm still working on like a belt or design for the top part. So maybe some of that will mask the back area where I put that in. That looks tacky, so we'll try to fix it up a little bit. Okay, what I've decided to do in order to fix this part that kind of pops open is to take a little bit of this and pull it through that little space to try to cinch it up and cinch it closed, and it'll still stretch. So let's see how that turns out. Okay, I put that elastic through there. It's laying a lot better than it was before. It still looks kind of messy on the inside, but that last one I did turned out so much better. It's kind of hard for me to redo it exactly the way the other one was, but the sock was different as well, so that might have something to do with it. Let's work on the belt or the rest of the design. Get some of this glue off of here too. I'll be back. Okay, so for the trim, I put a little bit down the front, a tiny piece over that hole. I don't know if you can see it. Some down the front. And for the bottom of the pants, I tucked it under because I don't want to cut this off. But I think I'm going to gather it on each side and then put this on the side after I've gathered each piece up a little bit. We'll see what that looks like. Okay, I've got one side stitched up, and this should just go around like that. Okay, let's make it happen. Okay, so I've gathered the other side as well, and I've glued, it's not dry yet, but I've glued this to the inside of that little spot where we put the stitches. Just kind of waiting for it to cool off a little bit more, and then we'll glue it up this way. Okay, I'll show you that when it's done. Okay, this is what our outfit is looking like so far. We've got the choker, the piece down the middle, the pieces on the sides, piece down there. I think I'm going to put a piece around this part right here, all the way around that edge, to make it kind of look like the bottom of the outfit. Okay, let me do that and see how that looks. Okay, here's one option, putting that around the bottom. I'm not really, I don't know, it doesn't seem like it does anything for the design. So I think I'm going to scratch that and try something different. Let's see what else we can do. Okay, so I've got these little silver studs that I want to use, and I think I'm going to put some on the ends of each of these pieces, and then probably put a stripe here going from there to the corner here on both sides, and then have a little stud up there as well. Let's mock that up and see how it looks. Let me see if I can do that here. So I want to put that like so down to there. And then we would put, like, cut it a little short though. And then put the little stud there. Little stud here. Little stud on the other side there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 2 on the back. 5, 6. I think I have enough. Okay, let me try that. I think I like that better. So here's what I finally went with. I put the little studs at the top, studs at the front of the pockets. I didn't put any on the back of the pockets, but I put a couple up there. So yeah. Ooh, I think I'm gonna put some studs on the bottom of her pants. Okay, let me try it. Okay, this part of the outfit is done now. Got the studs and the choker. The closure is right here. Put the little studs there. This is the back. And that's a little detail on the sides. Okay, let's see if we can get a better picture. Better look at her without her falling down. Don't fall, Maya. But that's what we've got so far for her outfit. This was a hard video for me to make. I'm not used to this. Maybe we'll do a part B or part 2 or whatever. Because now she needs some shoes to match her outfit. But I'm done for now. Here's a quick look at the first outfit that I made. I made the little faux pockets. I turned up the bottom piece and then added the little trim on the sides. At the top, I put a little V. There's a belt that goes on it as well. For the top part, I just used a little piece of ribbon, and then I fashioned a closure out of just some hairpins that I had laying around, and I hot glued it. You can see quite a bit of hot glue. It's not noticeable in person, but it shows up really well on the video. But here's how I did the inside, and maybe it's the way I did it, but this one turned out so much better than the second one I just did. But this sock is a lot thinner too, so I don't know if that has something to do with it or the way I put it in. I think I actually might have put the elastic from all the way up here and then down and around and glued it. I think that was what the difference was. Then it didn't pucker so much in the back. I probably should have looked at this one before I started the second one. I thought I only put it at the bottom, but apparently I put it from the top, then down, around through here, around through the bottom, and then up to the other side. And that's what made the difference. And again, I just hot glued all that closed. And a little extra piece is tucked down inside there. So if I do this again, I will try to do it closer to this style, because this one turned out a lot better than the way I did this one. This one was pretty difficult. But it still turned out okay. It just was a lot harder to do it that way. Okay. Yeah, and she needs some shoes.